You're not going to be sleeping anytime soon as I tell you 5 terrifying urban legends that will keep you up tonight. My tome of legends always hungers, so tell me your favorite local story in the comments and I can share it in a future video below. Number 5. Polybius. Our first wretched tale is that of Polybius, an arcade game that hungered for a lot more than your quarters. Close your eyes and picture it's 1981. For most of you, myself included, I'm sure that's a little bit before your time, so just picture it's the first season of Stranger Things. It's the summer of 1981. School's out, you've got not a care in the world. Your goals are to kick back, bike around town, and spend your halcyon days popping quarters at the arcade. A new game appears that no one's heard of before, called Polybius. First appearing at an arcade in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, Polybius seems deceptively simple. A game similar to Asteroids, where the player controls a little spaceship firing and geometric shapes and patterns unfurling hypnotically. It's been said that Polybius was addicting. Far more than Pac-Man or Dig Dug could ever hope to be. Lines would form around the cabinet, fights over whose turn it was. And kids would go home and complain of nightmares, night terrors, hallucinations, insomnia, and an unhealthy obsession with the game, unable to think or talk about anything else but Polybius. And every few weeks, mysterious men in black suits would visit the arcade, observe people playing Polybius for a bit, write things down in notepads and journals, and leave without speaking to anyone. Polybius was a hit with the locals, with the machine seeing constant use around the clock. As mysteriously as it appeared, a few months later, the cabinet disappeared. Attempts to uncover the truth behind Polybius bring up nothing but questions. The developers, Llorona, is a broken German translation for the words for senses and to delete senses. Records of the company are impossible to find, and no trace of the original cabinet has ever come up. But there are many online who insist that they experienced it in that fateful arcade in Portland many years ago. Subscribe if you dare, for we've got top scary content coming to you every day this October, and every day after that too. Number 4. The hands resist him. Take a look at this painting. It's nice, isn't it? No, of course not. If you don't have to agree with me, this thing is terrifying. Even looking at it through a screen makes me feel uneasy. This painting is titled, The Hands Resist Him, but perhaps you know it by its more colloquial name, the Haunted eBay Painting. They can't all have good names. This painting earned its reputation when it was put up for sale on eBay in the early 2000s, with a small disclaimer from the listers warning that while the painting might have a certain allure to it, that you should know it was inhabited by something evil. The listing claimed that the painting would change. The characters would change poses, claiming the girl in the painting would threaten the boy. Those who've seen the painting in person report feelings of great unease, discomfort. Those who saw it when it was briefly displayed in galleries claiming they felt like there was something there with them. Some going so far as to say they felt like there was something around their throat. Take a look at it. I mean, really look at it. Okay, you should probably tab out of the video. I don't want to be responsible for something happening to you. Most concerningly, the painting's first owner and the first person to ever have seen it publicly at its first showing both died under mysterious circumstances. The artist, of course, dismisses these claims as just coincidence, but that's what someone who painted a haunted painting would want you to think. Currently, The Hands Resist Him slumbers in the gallery of Kim Smith in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Originally, Smith had wanted to hang the painting in his own home, but was begged by his family that for their sake, they keep it away. Understandable. The painting has only been made visible to the public 6 times. And each time the viewers have complained of feeling ill. Maybe we should start to move on from this topic before it's too late for us. Number 3. The spider bite. Now this is one of my absolute favorites. I remember being told this one at a schoolyard when I was just a fledgling ghoulie. The story goes that a woman from frigid northern England, where the sun simply doesn't shine, takes a vacation to somewhere nice and sunny to soak up some rays and take a break from the dreariness of Leeds. Usually it's Mexico, so she journeys to Guadalajara. The woman, while sunbathing, is bitten by a spider without noticing. Days pass and the spider bite grows inflamed and red. She seeks out a local doctor who dismisses it as nothing more than a spider bite and tells her that it'll settle itself in a matter of days and she has nothing to worry about and should just enjoy her vacation. She continues on her vacation, but notices with each passing day that the bite on her cheek is growing slightly. She complains that it's growing sore and larger, and she returns to the doctor yet again. The doctor tells her if she's truly so worried about nothing but a spider bite, she should just take a hot bath and try to relax and ease her skin. She goes back to her resort, and during the bath, the boil on her face softens and bursts, and hundreds upon hundreds of baby spiders crawl down her face as it was an egg the entire time. Just delightful. Now, some of my ghouls might recognize this particular tale from the collection of haunted stories, scary stories to tell in the dark, made famous by its absolutely wretched illustrations straight out of your childhood nightmares. I'd wager that the charcoal drawing of the spider bite woman left an impact on you the way it did me. This book changed my life, really. I used to actually be a very normal, happy kid, and then I took this out in the 3rd grade from the library, and now I can only talk about ghouls, goblins, ghosts, and grossness. Number 2. Edward Mordrake. Edward Mordrake, as the legend goes, was a young, intelligent, and good-looking noble Englishman and a talented musician. A real Renaissance man. A man with all this going for him surely led a very successful and happy life, right? Well, unfortunately for Mr. Mordrake, he was cursed to bear host to a passenger, otherwise he wouldn't be on this list. Edward Mordrake, more famously known as the man with 2 faces, is said to have been born with a face on the back of his head. It's said that his secondary face was a malignant sort. When Mordrake would cry, his face would smile and sneer. When Mordrake would laugh, it would cry. Mordrake complained bitterly of his twin. He couldn't sleep and suffered from severe insomnia, claiming that the face would whisper to him in the night. It would whisper such things they only speak of in hell. Not quite a comforting bedtime story. Really can't imagine it was too easy sharing a pillow with a fellow like that. He would beg doctors to remove it, but was told repeatedly that it wasn't possible, lest he suffer the consequences, as the two were linked. The nobleman eventually couldn't bear to put up with the suffering anymore, and at the age of 23 was prompted to take his life. He left behind a note demanding that after his death, the face be destroyed and all remnants of it destroyed, for fear that it would follow him into the afterlife. The story of Edward Mordrake has captivated audiences for years, reaching its peak when Mordrake himself featured as a character on the 4th season of American Horror Story, Freak Show. So is there any truth to this, or is it just a tall tale? While no remnants of Mordrake were ever found, nor any written records, solely stories passed down from generation to generation. So whether or not it was real, all we can attest to is just how creepy it was. And number 1, La Llorona, I am so sorry to my viewers, that is definitely not how you pronounce that properly, is one of the most well-known folk legends in Hispanic culture and has been adapted, told, and retold countless times. Let me add one to that pile. No one really knows where the original legend of La Llorona appeared from, although the one connective thread between all versions of the story is that La Llorona is the spirit of a woman who cast her children away into the water and spends the rest of eternity searching for them around rivers and lakes. In some versions of the story, she was betrothed to a wealthy Spaniard who abandoned her, and after being deserted, in a fit of manic rage, she threw her out into the local river. The legend is widespread throughout Mexico and Central and South Americas. The legend goes that you can find her late at night, clad all in a white gown, patrolling around bodies of water. Where it goes from here varies from teller to teller, with some variations of the story saying that she kidnaps lost children, others saying she attacks unfaithful husbands, and some meaner variations reporting that she attacks wantonly at anyone who sees her. Regardless of the local legend, all the stories can agree that when you hear La Llorona crying, you should get away. Now, the story has found its way to several Hollywood movies, TV shows, and more. Anyone else remember that pilot episode of Supernatural? Every couple years, someone takes a new stab at the legend of La Llorona, meaning it's unlikely you'll stop hearing about her crying anytime soon. Just hope the poor girl finds those kids someday. She's been looking for a really long time. That's all for this video, my ghouls and goblins. Thanks so much for watching. Stick around for more scary content coming your way.